I was on Instagram when I ended up seeing a DM from some random guy. He sent a picture of Mike from TazerCraft and wrote, "Dude, we used to watch this," and that made me feel bad. I felt bad because I honestly didn't know the Chris and Pete series had returned. When I checked, I saw there's still drama and many people are criticizing Mike's appearance. On Twitter, a clip with a caption saying what this guy has become had hundreds and hundreds of absurd replies about Mike. Quote, "Peck really is a strong guy, you know? His friend turned into a monstrosity, and even so, he has to keep up the appearance of their friendship in public." End quote. There was even a video using the thumbnail, "Mike's downfall is really bizarre, but guys, what end exactly?" The guy is married, living abroad, streaming on a famous server. The guy literally just went on with his own life. In the end, what did Mike do? He dyed his hair, shaved his eyebrow, and got piercings. He streams Minecraft for his audience. That's it? And even so, that became a reason to treat it like it was the end of someone? Something so peaceful. This isn't anything new, is it? Did people never actually follow TazerCraft? Mike always had dyed hair. There are pictures of him like that back in 2018. The duo's shows and appearances were promoted with photos of him. Yes, with colored hair. So now the issue isn't his appearance, but that attacking him is normalized? That's what I want to discuss today. This video is going to upset a lot of people, and I'm jumping into this fully aware of that. But I'm not here to defend or attack anyone. I'm here to discuss a pattern that, honestly, is strange, like nobody's naive. People have resented Mike since the fight with Tentic. Many view his attitude as dishonest or immature, while others consider it fair. Some people think neither side is right. However, at this point, even though people always bring up and relive this fight, I think it's already over, you know? Whether you think he was right or wrong, it's been 4 years he still has to deal with it, as he was one of the most relevant names of his generation. But comments like, "Look at what he became, look at how he is nowadays," with pictures of him and people calling him washed up, don't make any sense. And it's not that it doesn't make sense because of some whining, but people just go too far. People harass him and his wife online, exaggerating and placing them in ridiculous situations. Supporting this behavior on the internet is bizarre. The point of this video is not at all to say that Flano is perfect. The point of this video is much simpler. It's not worth encouraging this kind of behavior on the internet because people have been escalating and crossing the line for a long time now towards someone who honestly just dyed his hair and is playing Minecraft minding his own business. What gets to me most about this whole story is that the focus is no longer on an action, a statement, or a stance. The focus of the conversation has become the guy's appearance. The discussion has turned into catharsis, projection, a joke, and mainly an excuse to reduce an entire person to a straw man. And a straw man is creating a caricature of someone to make it easier to attack them. And that's basically what's been done with Mike. There's no reason or logic anymore. It's just pointless hate. Some in the audience saw an apparent change in appearance as a sign of downfall, assuming a departure from their image of him meant he lost his way. But did he really lose his way? Or did we just not follow his journey? We're talking about a time gap. Over the past decade, many have confused memory with reality and nostalgia with ownership, crafting an easy narrative to avoid critical thinking. In Mike's case, this becomes even more obvious because this idea of wow, how much he's changed, how he's become someone else just doesn't hold up. There are plenty of old videos where his hair was already pink. There are records of his own style being incorporated into the content and even into his own skin. Not long ago, Mike and Pax were recording Shumi Labs and he had dyed hair, he had a piercing. So, I don't know where people got the idea that he suddenly changed, that he suddenly became unrecognizable. Incredible, but it's very...
much more interesting. If you look at it, it's kind of like Finesse Ferb, right? Shumi Labs really draws a lot from Finesse and Ferb. It's even funny that people come up and say, "Do you remember that show about two scientists going through portals?" The guy mentions Rick and Morty but gets sad when he realizes it was actually Shumi Labs.
And, man, obviously you can't talk about TazerCraft without mentioning Peck, so he's always being mentioned. People still go overboard, pitting the two against each other, and making comments that even Peck finds unpleasant. If for some reason you thought they split up, that they had a fight, that something happened between them, you're very mistaken because Peck has shown up on live streams several times to say that both on and especially off camera, he defends Mike.
People question my decade-long friendship with Mike because of these things, and those comments really upset me. Because Mike, he's very important to me. I know maybe I don't defend him as strongly as I used to, going all out, arguing with people, but that's just the way I am. But whenever I can, I say how important Mike is to the history of TazerCraft. I don't like the comments people make comparing me and Mike, trying to put Mike down and in a way praise me. I don't think it's cool, I don't like it. For me, Mike and I are equally important to the history of the TazerCraft channel.
That's interesting because it shows an internet phenomenon our generation is likely the first to experience. Parasocial relationships form when people believe they have a meaningful emotional bond with creators. They can become so invested that they become demanding and even annoying, like how YouTuber X should behave, what he should do, how he should dress, just because they watch or have watched them, as if they have the right to demand things. How is Peck going to react to a situation involving his 10-year friendship? And don't get me wrong, the internet has a comment section precisely for commenting, but some people go too far. They think they know more about you than you do yourself, but that's the point. Mike didn't do absolutely anything. He's a successful guy living his own life. And I get the impression that a lot of people have been lost for a long time and use irrational things to justify unfair behavior. It's very easy to find people who go too far. People who talk about the guy's family, people who not long ago were making absurd AI edits of him, his pet, and his wife, and there are some factors that make everything worse. The first one is the crowd. Online dynamics affect a person's sense of responsibility. With many comments already, people, naturally social, feel they belong and are more comfortable sharing their thoughts. And that's dangerous because it gives the feeling of freedom to make comments that shouldn't be normalized. If all this hatred, all this hate still comes from some drama from 2022, I think it at least deserves some reflection. Because man, in 2022, people were maybe starting college, people were finishing high school, people were at their first job. And now, 4 years later, there are people who have already graduated, people who have already been promoted, people already have a completely different life. There are even people who became fathers, who got engaged, who got married, who brought a kid into the world, and they still use this to attack the guy. And the worst part is that it sells. There are a lot of creators who don't even believe in what they say, but they make this kind of content because they know it's content that works, because it's content for an audience addicted to cheap dopamine, belonging, and gratuitous hate. And that's pretty much how bubbles work. The internet rewards overreaction. The platforms reward attention. So when a lot of people get together to attack a specific person or group, of course it's going to get attention. Balanced comments don't go anywhere. Hysterical comments do. Love doesn't go viral. Hate goes viral. No one is going to go viral debating whether this video was productive or instructive. What will go viral is people taking screenshots of the thumbnail, posting it on Twitter with some generic phrase like, quote, "Man, I can't take it anymore," unquote. This story about Mike, Authentic, and me will get thousands of likes again, even though it happened 4 years ago, because hate drives engagement. It's not just the creators, it's the gossiping audience and how the internet works. And here I need to go back to the drama with Authentic because it would be way too fake to pretend that doesn't exist. Obviously there's a history there, and obviously that history has affected the way a lot of people started to see Mike. Everyone is going to have their own interpretation. Honestly, I don't think this video needs to resolve the drama. What matters is something else. Even if you think he was wrong, does that justify turning every appearance into a chance to dehumanize him? But man, he just dyed his hair. He just dyed his hair and got some piercings. That's it. There's nothing outrageous about the life he leads. It's nothing new. It's something he's been doing for a long time. And here it's important to remember that Chris MP, one of the biggest and maybe the first multilingual server in the world, actually came back now in March 2026. So, if you're still wondering what Mike has been up to this year, he's been active on MP. And in this series on this server, we had the chance to see TazerCraft again. Even though it's basically over, every time Peck and Mike are together, TazerCraft comes alive again.
Peck Mike! Peck whoa whoa! Peck Mike! Peck whoa whoa! Peck Mike! Peck Mike! Peck Mike! Peck Mike!
As with most things online, there's some chatter here and there, but overall, MP2 appears to be a steady project. And that's why I think it's so dishonest when the case is treated as if Mike has turned into something else or as if Mike is finished, because those verbs are already poisoned. They imply decay. Decay of a guy who, on the contrary, is successful. Deep down, what seems truer to me here is this. A lot of people aren't reacting to the real Mike of 2026. They're reacting to their fantasy collapsing. The fantasy that certain creators remain preserved in time, intact and recognizable, available to keep embodying what they once represented. But no one has that obligation. No one is obligated to age in a way that's comfortable for your memory. And maybe that's exactly what Mike meant a few months ago in those tweets about nostalgia. It wasn't about Resende or any creator. It was about a part of the internet that behaves childishly. Maybe that's what hurts attackers most because it's true.
What he said is true in two ways. We grew up together when it comes to YouTube and the internet. But we also grew up like matured and got older. Obviously, each of us went our own way. And that's just normal in life, man. Mike went to Canada. He's married. Peck is here in Londrina. Single. So different. One day you're a player, man. One day you're a player. Thank you, Henrique. But he's doing his own thing and all. I'm also doing my own things. Life just happened. But man, one thing is a fact. What we built together is saved on the internet. It's there. And that's really cool. Today we're here, man, having this conversation. Mike, I'm really glad that, like, at the time you went to talk to me, I'm also glad, like, about my reaction, that I went to talk right away. To talk. And there was nothing, guys. There was nothing like ego, you know? Not from one side or the other. Right away, we were like, man, let's sort this out. Let's go and let's just record a video and all that, you know, and man, that's what happened. There was no stress from either side, like, oh no, I don't feel like it. Oh, I'm not gonna do this, no man. And it was settled. And we went, and it was really fun to take part in that recording, man. That's it, man. I laughed a lot here, dude. We wanted to solve it in the best way possible here, man, and I think people must have enjoyed it, right?
But in the end, I don't think this video should be about me saying that Mike is right about everything, that he's being wronged, or that the audience can't dislike him. The point is much more basic and much more important. It doesn't make any sense to treat someone's appearance as proof of decline. It makes no sense. 4 years after an argument everyone has moved on from, to use the guy's return to call him a monstrosity or freak. That's not analysis, it's just socially accepted cruelty. Mike's case isn't just about him, it's about the internet. It mainly speaks to a truth that a lot of people don't want to accept, maybe something uncomfortable. Maybe it's not that Mike changed that's uncomfortable. Maybe what's uncomfortable is that creators move on with their lives while part of the audience still wants them to meet all their expectations. You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain, a phrase with many meanings, especially since it involves others' perceptions which you can't control. You probably won't change anyone's mind, but as I said, even if we stop following, life goes on. You can refuse to watch, you can think that things have changed, but they keep on living normally. In fact, not long ago, they also revisited the nostalgic Minecraft series where Peck and Mike were on the same team. And anyway, even though it didn't last long, even though there were some problems, it's just another example of how things simply went on and aren't as different as a lot of people think.
This is the end of Minecraft Guerra. We've reached the final war, a direct confrontation between Team Eclipse and Team Cometa.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, in Questim 2 itself, Peck already mentioned the possibility of doing a hide and seek, so it's likely that, just like in Arcanes, we'll have minigames inside QSMP as well, and in this case the famous hide and seek, something so nostalgic, and that was such a big hit on the TazerCraft channel. If you're still watching, follow me on Instagram, OZMean77.
Em Mine77,